What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show, and we have got a great one lined up for you guys today. It is Monday, October 28th. Shout out to my baby brother, Caleb. It is his birthday. Love to see that in the comments, wishing him a happy birthday. He watches from time to time, but we have a great day for my brother's birthday. Bitcoin very well might be making its way towards 70,000 by the end of the day. The Bitcoin dominance might be hitting our long-term target of 60% dominance by the end of the day as well. A whole lot to break down that's giving us a lot of bullish vibes here as we go closer and closer towards that dreaded election day where we've been waiting for months for a major impact on the crypto markets. We might be seeing the beginning of that today, but do not go anywhere. Watch the show all the way from beginning to end. We got a different flow today. You got to pay attention. Let us know what you think about it. But while you're doing that, help us get more people in here on YouTube. They love it when people smash the like button. So smash the like right now. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. And first, we got to roll the intro. Mr. T. Shroom, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh man, Tim, I am better than I deserve. We had an awesome live stream this morning talking about 3 insane sleeper coins that people have been sleeping on. One of them was Doge, and Crux had his own 3, and I had my own 3. One of them was Doge.
Yeah.
So if you guys didn't see that, go back and watch them. Some good picks in there. How you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good. That was a great pick, T. Shroom, because of altcoins today. It seems like, I'm not going to say no altcoins are rallying, but Bitcoin and Doge are the only 2 major altcoins with positive days so far. I'm not saying that can't turn around, but very good pick on that one. Guess what, though? Here's the thing that people need to understand. Maybe altcoins aren't running today, but guess what is running? Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. And as we have talked about on this channel now for over a year, the end of the Bitcoin cycle, not meaning Bitcoin's going to go down, but the end of the Bitcoin dominant cycle and the alt season starting will be a massive pump on both Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance at the same time. And we very well might be seeing the beginning of that play out right now. We are still so far on board for a December/January alt season beginning. Cannot wait to get into that. T-Shroom. What we're going to do today, I want to preface a couple things. The flow of the show is going to be different today. Rather than starting the show off with a bunch of technical analysis and then spending a lot of time in the stories, we're going to ping pong back and forth with Bitcoin stories, then Bitcoin technical analysis, then altcoin stories and altcoin technical analysis. And that's going to be a flow we want to see if you guys enjoy better. I think it's going to help us a little bit better to monitor things back and forth, because ultimately, to make sure we're investing correctly, we need to be aware of both the news and the charts at the same time. So we're going to pair those together. If you are wondering, though, here's another thing before we get going. If you are wondering, Tim, how do I get more dry powder to buy these dips? Well, we've got some great ways for you to do it. With this bull market coming, the bros are going to be so generous, giving money away, hopefully every single day. We already have a giveaway in process that every time we get to 300 likes before the 30-minute mark of the show, we give somebody $25. If we get to 600 likes by the end of the show, we give someone $100. But also now, if you are a Lux Algo user, if you sign up with the Bros links down below, at the end of every month, we are going to give one of our Lux Algo traders $500. We're not talking about trading bonuses. We're not talking about hidden USDT cash for you to go buy some more dips. Same with our Blofin and CoinW users. If you are a Blofin or CoinW user with our links down below and you're signed into our Discord, you also have the chance to win $500 cash from the bros. So make sure at some point during the stream, you guys sign up for Luxago, sign up for one of our trading accounts, get to trading, and you might even be able to win some major dry powder to begin your trading journey today. T-Shroom, before we get into the beginning here, we're going to look at the bubbles, get into the news, do look at the charts. Anything you want to say to the people before we get going?
I still don't think Bitcoin's going to get above 70 until after the U.S. elections. Let's look at the bubbles.
Ooh, hot take to start it off. We might find some disagreements amongst the bros today. There are a couple big green candles. I told you it's mostly Doge and Bitcoin that people are paying attention to. Doge 9%, but check it out. BSV one of the Bitcoin ripoffs, 10%. SPX down here hiding behind me is up 5.6. It's rare to see Bitcoin as one of the larger bubbles, green or red. Very weird to see at that level. But it's up there. Rune's up 7%. XEC is up 6.4%. But you're going to notice the majority of the crypto space is in the red. Sui and Ondo and Tia and Say and Mew and Ape. These are all coins that are mostly red. What does that mean? We're gonna break that down in a whole lot more. But instead of me running to the charts, it's actually time to discuss the news first and then charts second. Let's start off with Bitcoin. Of course, the largest crypto of the day. It is the one that's making a major move towards levels we have not seen in months. T-Shroom, from a news perspective, what's happening? What do people need to be aware of for Bitcoin today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the biggest news right now is that there is a viral clip going around from TradFi. That's right, from CNBC. There was a pretty big interview with one of Van Eyck's representatives. So let's go ahead and take a look, Tim. In fact, let's take a listen.
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme. So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
High conviction of multiple $1 million Bitcoin. Pretty incredible.
No, he's very right. That is not an extreme call. In fact, I would actually say that estimate is extremely bearish isn't the right word because that's an extremely bullish target.
Conservative.
It's extremely conservative. And here's what I'll also say. When I saw that number, T-Shroom, I wonder if that valuation is simply talking about at today's current valuation of the U.S. dollar. A lot of us are aware that hyperinflation at some point is going to kick in. With where the dollar's headed, with where the American debt is at, they're going to turn on the printers they're going to turn on very, very, very strongly. And hyperinflation is going to happen. My reason for thinking Bitcoin by 2050, T-Shroom, is probably going to be closer to 10, if not over 10 million. A lot has to do with hyperinflation. But if their argument is at the current evaluation of dollar, if the inflation did not impact the dollar whatsoever, or maybe they're going to say if 2% stays consistent, which it won't, but let's just say it stays consistent, maybe I'd be on board with that prediction, and I think that would be a very good prediction. I just in no way, T-Shroom, see only 3 million in the next 25 years. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going to be so much higher than that. What do you think?
Tim, I think that it's kind of anybody's guess. To try to pin it down, it really depends, how aggressively the BRICS nations are able to kind of, push the dollar down lower. The dollar has a very, very far ways to fall, meaning it's very strong. I believe it's a lot stronger than most people think, right? But it depends, just how much Wall Street, how much other global centers of financial influence want to play ball with crypto and try to sidestep the historically dominant hegemony of the Federal Reserve, right? And then also the ECB and the Bank of Japan and the Royal Bank of England, right? If all the private banks get together and they're like, we've had enough with the central banks determining the supply and demand of money, we want a gigantic market of cryptocurrencies that look different. Some are thin, some are fat, some are X, some are Y, right? There's a diversity, then they win, I think, right? So there's a kind of a growing motivation. Now, it's not all going to happen overnight, right? But all of those variables come together, and you also have AI, right? You have the potential of infinite energy through nuclear fusion, right? All these things are going to happen, or could happen. Well, in the case of AI, it is already happening. But these things are definitely going to influence a price prediction for Bitcoin by 2050. So
it's true.
It's still going to be I'll tell you one thing. It's still going to be 21 million Bitcoins.
A lot of different factors will play into how the Bitcoin price goes to the upside. I'm still just going to say, will the Investing Bros YouTube channel still be going strong in 25 years when T-Shroom and I are 55 years old?
Heck yeah.
I hope so.
Even stronger.
My prediction, stake bet, T-Shroom, stake bet right now. We will not know the answer for 25 years. So someone reminds us, Bitcoin will be above $3 million. That is my prediction.
Wait, Tim.
Time.
ChatGPT just heard you say that, and it just generated a picture of what it's going to look like when I win. So we're having fun.
A couple things here, but all right, we're going to move on. Any more Bitcoin news before we jump into the charts?
There's a couple more headlines, but they're kind of altcoin adjacent. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin and what it's rocking out at right now.
You know, T-Shroom, you said here minutes ago you think we still have to wait for the election for 70K. We are inching ever so closer. We just wicked up while you were talking. We wicked up to 69,500, back to these wicks we had on October 20th, right? So we're doing some dangerous things here on the charts. If you're a bear, you're in danger right now for sure. What's keeping us at bay, though, and I made sure to tell this to our VIP trading group, no matter what time frame you're going to look at, there's a major order block right now in play right here from these peaks back on October 20th. That's in play here on the hourly chart. We have not conquered it. It's in play on the 4-hour chart. We have not conquered that one. It's going to go 8-hour, 12-hour. I think it goes up to the daily. Let's check the daily to see. No, okay. It's not on the daily, but it does run up all the way to the 12-hour. And so until we break above, let's just even go back towards the 4-hour side, until we break this order block and close some candles above 69,500. We've kissed it now, right? So we're close, but let's get above that, and we'll feel a lot better about getting rid of this bearish resistance that is above us at the moment. Right now, though, be of good cheer, everybody, because a lot of our take profits from Luxalgo buy signals have us getting up here at least to 70K. Some of them have us going maybe even as high as 72,000. You go over into our oscillators. I told you guys last week, before we let you go, what I wanted to see to feel bullish again, because there were signs that Bitcoin wanted to pull back. I said, let's get a buy signal on the 4-hour chart. Well, this came into effect 2 days ago, Saturday night, Sunday evening, pretty much right there at midnight. We did get a green reversal came into play, bullish momentum, and then our positive money flow. And while we have technically seen a red reversal pop up today, we are not seeing the money flow nor the oscillator cool off whatsoever. So the 4-hour chart, T-Shroom, is looking very good to keep running. And the levels you look at is order blocks, which we're wrestling with right now, or the take profit from the Luxalgo indicator. All of this is something to keep an eye on when it comes to Bitcoin. What I'm talking about for if a rejection happens, if this order block does not get broken at 69,500, we're worried still about this smart trail on the daily chart, T-Shroom, because even though we're seeing some positive signs, we did get a sell signal, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow a couple of days ago on the daily chart. It is very rare that we don't end up touching the smart trail after that happens. Not impossible. I tell people this is about a 90% probability that these end up happening. But you know, T-Shroom, what the 10% rides on? If the 10% is going to come true, the 10% chance, it means there's a massive strength to that opposite side. So in this case, with a sell signal in play currently on the daily chart, if it gets ignored, that communicates the super strength of the bulls. And of course, if the bulls are super strong, that is confirmation of a big breakout. You want to know the last time, T-Shroom, we saw a failure of this sell signal on the daily chart? You got to go all the way back to October of 2023, a little over a year ago. What would go on over the next couple of weeks? Oh, you know, Bitcoin would just shoot from about 26,000 up towards 49, take a little cool off, and then shoot to brand new all-time highs before a halving event. So the last time we saw this indicator be false, we saw it over, what is that? That's like a 200% rally on Bitcoin.
Impressive.
We'll see. But that's something people should be aware of. Before I move on, there's a couple things also people should be aware of when it comes to Bitcoin. I mentioned it in the intro. Bitcoin dominance, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty annoying about Bitcoin dominance. I don't know if I have anything on Ben Cowan. Ben Cowan absolutely has been annoying to people, but we have been beating the drum. Me and Ben Cowan. I'm not saying we're the only people, but I don't think anyone has beat the drum louder than me and Ben about this 60% dominance. And T-Shroom, I've gotten to a place right now where I think the dominance of Bitcoin could even go higher than 60%, potentially targeting some levels on the weekly chart of all the way up here towards 63%. I want to remind you guys, when this gets going, we're kind of in a similar 4-year cycle as last 4 years ago. When this thing got going, it got going in October of 2020, did not peak out until January, right? There's a very real chance, as close as we are to 60% dominance, T-Shroom, that we are not done. We're not done at 60%. We're going to go a little bit higher towards 63. But I want people to be prepared, because when it dips, like it did back here in January of 2021, alts are going to fly. Take a look at the Bitcoin chart and then an altcoin. We'll go to Cardano. It was a good example. Look at the Bitcoin chart back here in October of 2020. Again, when that dominance started to climb, it would go from $10,000, just under $11,000, up to $41,000 before any type of real resistance during that time period in January. If you look, though, after that, had a small cool off and then a rally again. If you look at a coin like, say, Cardano, between October and January, it's not that Cardano didn't rally, it's that Cardano didn't really do much. It actually had a nice little pop-up. But then in January, when January hit and alt season hit, Cardano would fly from 33 cents all the way to $1.40 in a matter of a couple of weeks. It then would continue as high as $3 before really cooling off in August of 2021. Alt season is among us, but we're watching this chart, ladies and gentlemen. We're still watching this above 60%. Let's see some weakness on this chart, and alts will be ready to run. Last thing, I want to entice you guys. Oh, there we go. Hey, guys.
I got to give my case for why it's not going to hit 70 as well.
You do. Guess what we just did? We just wicked to $70,000. So what's your case for not hit? Give me a second.
Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Oh.
We got a $70,000 Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Tim is wearing a hat again for the first time in quite a while. But T-Shroom, I would love to hear your case about why Bitcoin will not hit $70,000.
Well, I mean, on Kraken it hasn't hit 70,000 yet. So what are you on Coinbase?
I'm on Coinbase.
So yeah, on Kraken we've still got some. This is where I was charting it out. It's still got 0.5, so actually it's quite a substantial percentage to go. But it all hinges on the election, right? And the election is still about a week away, almost exactly a week away. I was thinking that we were going to stay in this pennant here. Obviously, I was already wrong as of today, because on a daily candle we've already broken that quite a bit. Right. However, I still I guess there isn't anything to hold on to because we got that wick. Let's look at it again on Coinbase.
Well, so this is something to keep an eye on. So you guys see, so it's going to be hard. It's really small, but when you're looking at this, look at this H and then these letters. It literally went to 70,000, $0 and 0 pennies on Coinbase and then got rejected. So it didn't go a cent over 70K on Coinbase. It went right to it. It just tells you how many. The reason for that, guys, is there was just so many sell orders, take profit orders, sell orders sitting right there. It's okay, though, because the momentum of this move, it's just a matter of time. It's going to have a small little pullback. In fact, if you were to let's get really in depth here. We got to spend some time here now. Bitcoin, I would not be concerned at all for it to fall back down here towards 69.2, hit this major breaker block on the 5-minute chart, and then continue. If you were to go to long, I like that time frame. Let's go to 15 minutes, see if there's anything kind of a confluence right there. Not really confluence. Again, you have to go to that really small time frame. I think that 5-minute order block right there, it's going to be very, very significant right there because the bulls are heating up. People are going to get a lot more excited. What I don't have turned on at the moment is volume. Sure enough, look at this 5-minute volume, T-Shroom. If I turn off the Lux Algo indicators, this whole move was sparked by the highest volume we've seen today, right? We've actually seen a good amount of volume today. This is a 5-minute candles. This is pretty much all of the day as bulls have been warming up, but they increased their volume as they went this high. Now, this candle with a big wick has the highest amount of volume. That's because not only did you have a high amount of buying in that 5-minute candle, you also had a high amount of selling as we just kind of broke down. But this is a sign. It's not just that the bears are gone, it's the bulls are actually coming in. If we were rallying with no volume, that would simply communicate there's nobody trading, but there's just no sellers. This volume increasing is something we have been talking about now for a couple of weeks, that to feel good about a breakout, you also need to see high volume because that proves that people are actually buying. It's not just a case of no one selling. So these are all good signs, but again, keep an eye on a potential pullback that could be in play. But I want to tease something before we move on here, T-Shroom. I want to tease something to people that they're going to be able to see. They're going to see a lot more on the channel. And if you love this, you're going to see, you're going to have an opportunity in a couple of weeks to be able to purchase this. I've told you guys that we have been working with Luxalgo on a personalized investing bros tool, indicators you can only get if you are with the bros. And these will be released soon, but I want to show you guys one of the coolest ones. The liquidation chart was giving us major implications of this. This was the high liquidity sitting up here at 69.5. We have now run through that. So if you're the type of person who love liquidations, we check out liquidations on other platforms all the time, if this is going to load for us. But if you, here in a couple of weeks, if you get the Investing Bros indicator, you no longer have to bounce back and forth between TradingView and these liquidation indicators. You will get it right here on TradingView. I love that. Also, another one we are working on, this is going to be a little complicated here. We've got another one called, I think we're going to change the name. At the moment, it's called the Ultimate T-shirt. I think we're call it a better name than Investing Bros Ultimate. But you got an accumulation. You got the Bollinger Bands. You guys know with T-Shroom here, we have to have Bollinger Bands in one of our specialized indicators. You also, if you guys watch me do analysis on fixed range volume, I'm a big proponent. I love the point of controls. I love the value area highs, value area lows. Those are on here. But I love looking at the gaps in the volume. And a lot of times they're the best levels of support resistance. Well, you no longer have to think for yourself about where the gaps are. This indicator will show you all of the major gaps in the fixed range volume profile. And as you guys, it's the blue lines right here. You can see those have served as extremely great support levels here. If you were using this indicator. The last little, or the two more things you got to look at here. If you zoom in close, you're going to see it tells us the level of volume in play, high volume, low volume. It's important to know when you have high volume and low volume bottom and tops, because they tell you a lot about where the price could come back to, or if it's ready to make bigger moves to the upside. And then the last thing, and the thing that I'm probably most excited about here, T-Shroom, is this right here. It's really simple, but I'm a simple guy. This helps me a lot. Let's move this right here. There's a table that at any time, instead of having to jump from time frame to time frame to time frame to time frame, you can at all times know where the RSI is on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 50 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, and weekly at any given time. So that way you can tell when we're extremely overbought, when we're extremely oversold, and know, should we be a little more hesitant and looking to sell, or should we be looking to long? In this case, everything right now, T-Shroom, everything except for the weekly chart is overbought. What does that mean? It means, ladies and gentlemen, now that we're around 70K, I'm not saying we can't go up any higher, but more than likely you're going to see some form of a pullback. But it's okay because, again, setting a higher high in a bull trend is followed by higher lows. That's a part of what you get. Look for in the next couple of days, more than likely, Bitcoin to peak around 70 to 72K would be my estimation. Back at these heights, have a small pullback, reset all of our oscillators. Let me turn those back on, turn all these back to neutral or maybe even green, and then we'll be ready for a buy signal to the upside. This indicator has been something that I've wished was in existence for a long time. So when Luxalgo approached us and said, we want to help build you guys a personalized indicator, I could not wait. All of that is coming out very, very soon. So stick around and pay attention to that. But T-Shroom, there's our Bitcoin TA. Let's real quick. We had a super chat. We got to come back and read, and then we're going to move into other stories of the day. Shizzy _OR said the founder of Cardano, IOHK Charles, otherwise known as Charles Hoskinson, ladies and gentlemen, just reversed his stance on Bitcoin. An announcement that Cardano L1 is pivoting to become a Bitcoin layer 2. Bitcoin DeFi will be massive. Do you think this will be a big deal? Shizzy, we covered this on the show last week. It's too early to tell just how bullish it's going to be, but I'll tell you what it's not. It's not bearish. Cardano now getting the support of a major Bitcoin player, as well as getting access to that high level of liquidity from Bitcoin via the roll-ups. It's not bearish for Cardano whatsoever. It's only bullish. The question is how much it's bullish. We're going to have to continue to wait and see how that happens. Maybe in the show we'll take a look at the Cardano chart. Not doing anything crazy like Bitcoin and Doge maybe are, but it's something to keep an eye on. Thank you so much for that super chat. And T-Shirt, let's go ahead and get back into the news.
Yeah, well, the way that I characterize that just real quickly is that this is a big win for Cardano, right? It is, categorically. But it's kind of been in a desert of losses, just to put it bluntly. This is a big win, though. This is potentially, if they can get this right and it can work really well, this could be smart contracts on Bitcoin, right? That is big. That is very, very big. They got to keep up the momentum here for the price of Cardano. For Bitcoin, this is just big. This is somewhat inevitable. It looks like Bitcoin OS and Cardano are going to be the ones that crack the code first, or among the first. However, for Cardano's price, in order for this to translate for a bid to Cardano, people have to buy Cardano, and they have to believe that Cardano is going to be higher in the future. Right now, this is a good headline, but the Cardano team has to build on this, and they have to keep hitting the market, coming back harder. We're better than Solana. We're better than Sui. We're better than AVAX. And of course, they're not going to be right or wrong. It's a market, right? But they have to convince investors of that. This is a good first step to doing that, because it's been a kind of, like I said, a desert of L's, a drought of wins. And so this is a big win for them. They got to keep up the momentum, though. Getting into the next bit of news here, I don't see that Watcher.Guru has declared 70,000 for Bitcoin just yet. For those of you in the chat who are a little confused, you might be looking at different exchanges on TradingView. So we're on Coinbase. Coinbase, you can see it has a high of 70K right here. Where it says O, H, and L under the word replay right here. So that is officially 70K on Coinbase. If you look at Kraken, or if you look at Binance or something else, it's not going to say that, because it hasn't reached that on those exchanges yet. Want to learn more about exchanges and why they're different? Check out our Discord. Ask that question. We will be more than happy to explain it. Oil. Oil's on pace for worst day in 2 years after Israel spars Iran crude facility. So they've spared the Iranian crude facility. There's a few details on this one. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is a little bit confusing, but we're going to look at the oil chart, because the market doesn't lie. The recent Israel military action is unlikely to be seen by the markets as leading to an escalation that impacts oil supply. That's pretty much all you need to know. Who's saying it? It's Citibank. Citi analysts wrote in a note Monday, cutting the bank's Brent oil forecast by $4 to $70 per barrel over the next 3 months. So that's kind of their projected bracket of value for what oil should be trading at. Is it going to trade at exactly 70? No, but that's what they are saying over at Citibank. With Israel deliberately, and perhaps with some American encouragement, avoiding the targeting of crude oil facilities, the oil market is back to looking at an oversupplied market, says Limpo Oil Associates. Okay, so another expert in the oil industry, saying there will be an oversupply. That's bearish pressure on price for oil. Oil prices will remain under pressure. So it goes on and on and on. Ultimately, why does this matter? Because oil equals inflation. Oil is inflation. If oil goes up, and it goes up a certain amount, north of 75, that will trickle into inflation, because it becomes more expensive to run an economy. You got airplanes that run on fuel. You got Amazon trucks that run on fuel. You got everything. Trucking industry, shipping. How do you think stuff gets from China to America and vice versa? It's all oil. If oil goes up, inflation goes up. Oil does not look like it's going up as a result of the tensions between Israel and Iran. That is good for risk assets, because the Federal Reserve cannot afford for inflation to rear back its head, as it has now began its quantitative easing cycle. So Tim, let's look at the oil charts. That was a very big intro into the oil charts. Let's take a look at them.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at right here is the news is saying it should cool off, as T-Shroom just said, but the charts have been saying it should cool off now for a little while as well. You can see here on the daily chart, we're under a sell signal. We have take profits down here as low as 64.30 down to 58.60. You turn on the Broz, specialized indicator. Bollinger Bands right now are being tested. The lower level are being tested. If it could be a small bouncer here, but with us getting some constriction in here on the Bollinger Bands, a move much lower could be in the cards there as well. You can also see our RSI indicator. While the 4 hour is saying a little oversold and the 1 minute saying overbought, everything else is extremely neutral. When things are neutral and the trajectory is going to the downside, which is what we have right now ever since you could definitely say since back here in April, but even more so since September of last year, you give neutral to the trend, right? Wherever the trend is going neutral, you should support the trend. And with lower highs and lower lows on oil and neutral natural oscillators that would say we should go lower here for oil, not higher. So this is a good sign here for economies, for price of goods, something that I do think people are going to feel good about moving forward. There was all that fear mongering that all this stuff happening in Europe and Asia with war was going to make oil skyrocket. And while we were aware of this and said, hey, guys, let's monitor this, we definitely preface people by saying, hey, they don't usually leak this type of information. They don't usually try to get people ready for spikes in oil. The fact that everyone's saying oil is about to spike could be a manipulation sign that you actually should look for it to come to the downside. That analysis has been pretty spot on to this point. So that's what we're kind of looking at again. $62, $63 to $58 a barrel T-Shrimp looks likely in the next couple of weeks.
All right. Now, we'll stay in commodities here. We'll actually go over to bonds. So that was our little commodity section. We're going to get into altcoins here in just a second, but I want to paint a picture of what the bond market is telling us really, really quick here, and then we'll get into our altcoin section. Guys, this is the 10-year Treasury. This is what the global financial world currently is built upon. This is the 10-year, and as you can see, since back here in mid-September, the yields have been on an absolute tear, up almost 20%. 18.5 to live price since these candle lows back on September 16th. What does that mean? What is a bond yield? A bond yield is an incentive for people to buy bonds, right? So when the yield is going up, generally the price or the value of that bond is going down, okay? So when that happens, it's because demand is going down, right? Or supply is going up. But in this case, both are happening at the same time. It doesn't matter. The way to interpret this is that the yields are going up. Folks are not interested in bonds, right? Moving into the election season, they're thinking that whatever is going to happen on the other side of this election, it's going to be better to be in cash or already go ahead and be in risk versus being in fixed returns, right? Which is what bonds are. And this is buttressed as well, this point, by the 3-month, right? This is actually not going up, right? So this is actually remaining steady. The yields are steady on the 3-month. What does that mean? It means that the folks that do want to stay in bonds are only wanting to stay in for the shortest duration possible, right? Because if we look at the 6-month, those yields are actually going down, are going up, right? So they're needing, the bond market is pricing in an incentive. It needs an incentive for me to rotate into bonds. So all of that means what? What it means is there's a bunch of cash somewhere, right? There's a bunch of cash waiting to rotate into risk. Some of it's already allocated. We've seen that go into gold. I would make the argument it's probably the majority of that has already moved into gold. But there is some earmarked in cash, and that's why I've been saying we're not going to see 70K until after the election, because that cash that money on the sidelines just wants to sit in cash until it gets that certainty, and then it's going to heavily rotate. And we'll know where that money wanted to go, dependent on the outcome of the U.S. election. So let's go ahead. Any comments on that before we get into altcoins?
Yeah, I was going to say, the other thing to think about, just being aware of, this cannot guarantee it all flows into Bitcoin.
Definitely.
But put on a logic hat with me here now that I'm wearing my Investing Bros hat. We'll call it my logic hat. If I'm an investor who's been holding money on the side, I've been investing in these bonds, waiting to deploy it into something else. And I'm looking, let's say I'm the type of person who really just wants to protect my money against inflation. I want to put it into commodities so that I get some return. Look around the space right now in the commodity world and tell me a better commodity than Bitcoin at the moment. And I'm not just saying that because over the last 5-10 years, Bitcoin's been the best commodity. I'm saying, look at what the S&P 500 has been doing recently. Look at what gold has been doing recently. Look at what these other commodities are doing. There is no commodity more oversold at the moment than Bitcoin. I'm not talking about risky assets. I'm not talking about all the altcoins. I'm talking about the investor who thinks, I want to be safe with my money. I want to invest in a commodity that other people are really bullish on to protect my investment. Not only does Bitcoin have the best assessment moving forward, again, we're talking about a $3 million price prediction by 2050. I think that's low, but that's still astronomical compared to where it is at the moment. And it's oversold. My logic hat says that those wealthy, intelligent people are going to more heavily move into Bitcoin than they will into gold or these others that have already been running to new all-time highs over the last couple of weeks. Also, again, we talked about it earlier in the show, this is about the time that Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance in the 4-year cycle both make really crazy runs. All of that liquidity could be the exact reason why that 4-year cycle stays intact. We get a nice explosive run on Bitcoin. We get up potentially over $100,000 before the end of the year, T-Shroom. And then Bitcoin calms down, it cools off, and altcoins go parabolic. We've seen this happen 3 times in a row over 4-year cycles in crypto. I think it's going to happen again. T-Shroom, we can go ahead and move on to the next story. By the way, it's 3:35. We only made it to 268 likes. But guess what, T-Shroom? We have 850 people watching on YouTube. We have another 250 people watching on X. If you're on X and you want to get some money, there's still 20-something minutes in our show left to get to 600 likes here on YouTube, and somebody is going to get $100. Smash that like button. Come over into YouTube. Smash the like here as well. T-Shroom, I'm throwing it back to you. Let's get into other news.
Absolutely. So this will bring us into the altcoin news. Hong Kong's HEKEX to introduce the first series of digital asset indices aligned with the European benchmark regulation. The indices will provide a real-time, unified price benchmark for Bitcoin and offer a daily price reference calculated by the 4 p.m. Hong Kong time. So this is starting to get into indexes, entire index. What is an index? The S&P 500 is an index. The Dow Jones is an index. The NASDAQ is an index. What do indexes do? It gives the market a summary of what that asset class is doing. Why do you need an index for an asset class? Because it's getting big, right? And big money is looking to simplify the market. Indexes summarizing crypto as a whole is going to be very, very bullish, especially moving into this next leg where altcoins do go ahead and start to outpace Bitcoin. We still got a little ways to go as determined by the Bitcoin dominance, but that is very, very bullish there, and it's happening in Hong Kong before it's happening in the U.S. This is an image that has been seen by many people today on Twitter. Why? Well, it's because this man here has posted it on his X account that he happens to own as well. Is very, very bullish for Dogecoin. Tim, we're going to pull up the Dogecoin charts here. We called it out this morning, and this is exactly why. It's because we're anticipating what? Donald Trump to win the 2024 presidential election in the United States. Why are we anticipating it? That's because that's what Vegas is doing, right? And Vegas is seldom wrong by this wide of a margin across multiple betting sites.
Is Polymarket Vegas, or are you just using that expression because you're saying betting?
I'm using that expression. It's the international Vegas, right? It's not Vegas the city. That is not the thing anymore. It's now an international betting site conglomerate. Anyway, Trump's looking like he's going to win. He has not won yet. That is definitely not certain by any means. However, who is likely to become a big part of the government moving forward? He's going to weave himself into the media cycle as he battles it out with Congress to create government efficiency under the Department of Government Efficiency. It is Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is not shy about his affiliation with Doge. So, Tim, let's go ahead and take a look at the Doge chart and see how it's reacting to this phenomenon.
Really quickly, just shout out to Crypto for Everybody with the super chat saying Bitcoin holders are doing better than they deserve. You know, I love the super chat.
I love it.
I'll venture to argue with you. I feel like Bitcoin holders deserve better than 70K.
Dang.
I think that we've been holding for a while. It's time to get closer to that 6 figures. Anyway, let's take a look at Doge. One of the other few altcoins making some big moves here today. T-Shroom called it this morning. Hopefully you caught our Monday morning show. We go live Mondays and Wednesday mornings. That's the T-Shroom and Crux special now, right? So if sometimes you're like, man, I'm tired of this Tim guy. He freaking talks too much. I just want some good, sensible bros like T-Shroom and Crux. Well, guess what? Mondays and Wednesdays are perfect for you, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be going live with their thoughts. That's the cool thing about the bros here. Some of you guys love me. Some of you love T-Shroom. Some of you love Crux. Some of you love all three of us. But we got so much knowledge and alpha coming in here. That's why you need to be a part of the community. Back over to Doge, T-Shroom. Some signs that we'd also been talking about here more recently is that this isn't like the prettiest looking inverse head and shoulders pattern that I've ever seen, but it technically fits the definition. What am I talking about here? Well, pretend this is the neckline right here, slanted neckline. And then you take a look over here and you got a nice little left shoulder with a dip back here in, I think that's July. Then throughout July and August into September, we set ourselves a head and then another dip here in October. Again, is it the prettiest looking inverse head and shoulders pattern I've ever seen? No, it's not. But when you have 3 dips and the 2 on the outsides are higher than the middle dip, by definition, there's going to be traders out there looking at this and saying, inverse head and shoulders pattern. Well, how are they going to trade this inverse head and shoulders pattern? They look for a breakout of this trend line. They take the depth of the head to that neckline, and they move it over to a breakout spot. And this gives us a Dogecoin prediction that we talked about this like a week and a half ago, T-Shroom, to 19, close to 20 cents here. And today, we're making some big moves to get up towards that level. Let's take a look at what Lux Algo is telling us right here. We're making some moves, been under a buy signal actually since back here on October 16th. But you will notice, even though we have a target up here towards 19 cents, keep an eye on this order block right in here and the take profit zone around 16.2 cents. That order block from Lux Algo is telling us a lot of people, you see this big green bar? That communicates what we call buyer exhaustion. There's people that are shorting Dogecoin that will get out as well. There's bearish exhaustion, but that massive green bar tells us a lot of people are going to be taking profit on their long positions. So more than likely, as we get up into this 16-cent zone, there will be at least a small level of resistance right there. Let's turn on, though. Let's turn on our new indicators we're playing with here with the bros and see what's going on from those perspectives as well. Not seeing a lot of volume here on the daily chart, and some of these you have to look at smaller time frames to get anything of value here. But let's take a look here on the 4-hour. There we go. We do have some liquidity back down below us, back towards 15 cents to keep an eye on. That means there's a lot of longs who have said if we get back down below 15 cents, we want out of this long position. So you always want to be mindful of that. This indicator is just not going to give us enough analysis here for these longer time frames. So to that, we have to probably go to some other liquidation chart. But let's turn on our indicator here with the fixed range volume and there we go. Let's see what's going on here from our newer one. We recently received a low volume spring. Low volume springs, ladies and gentlemen, often mean that the downward movement is over. It means that not a lot of buying would need to take place for us to reverse back up. It's the high volume situations that make you think, we probably going to be revisiting this situation. We had a high volume rejection back here in March. Yes, we had a nice cool off, but now here on the weekly chart, we're experiencing a low volume bottom. That's a very good sign that the bottom is in. That's what I love about this indicator. You can see on the weekly chart, we're starting to stretch the Bollinger Bands here on the weekly chart. Something to be aware of, though, as we mentioned, that order block is not that far above us. Let's go back to the daily chart. Take a look at the order block. That order block not that far above us right now as we're at 15.8. So we're still climbing. And you're going to see here, if I go down here, every time frame is overbought at the moment. What does that mean? This resistance level, it's pretty certain to play out. Everything except for the weekly chart and the 1-minute chart is not only overbought, it's pushing towards 80, which is extremely overbought. So what do I do with this information? I'm probably looking for some form of a small short opportunity where I pull back down to some of those liquidations we talked about. Liquidations probably in that zone of around 14, just below 15 cents. A short from where we currently are down there. That's a little tidbit of trade information, people out there. I usually say that for our VIP traders, but that's what we're looking at here today with our levels of resistance and support. Shout out to Lux Algo for those things. Like I said in the intro as well, new thing going forward, once a month, we will give one of our Lux Algo users $500. You got to be entered. You got to purchase Lux Algo with our link down below. Connect into Discord, join our VIP trading group, and all of our Lux Algo users will be entered to win $500. Not only do you get the best indicator, not only do you get access into our VIP trading group, you also can win $500. I don't know why anyone here right now is listening and not signing up for Lux Algo today. Go check out the link down below. Start trading today. T-Shroom, there's our Dogecoin TA. What else you got for us?
All right. It's our last and final story, and it is an unfortunate one. Currently experiencing an uptime incident, and some services may be temporarily disrupted. If you are in urgent need of making a transaction, please ignore simulation errors and try using a dApp. This is from the official Phantom X account there. So if you've been having issues traversing, navigating, sending, receiving, staking, unstaking in the Solana network, it may be due to an issue, a known issue that is being worked on, being in the process of fixed over on with the Phantom wallet. So let us know in the chat, have you been affected by this? Is it really bad, or is it just kind of a mild inconvenience? Let us know, but it looks like they are working towards a solution on that.
And here's what I'll say. If you look at the chart for Solana, I don't think it's being hurt that badly. And the chart we've been tracking, again, guess what? An inverse head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We've been tracking a larger move over the next couple of weeks, back up above 200 to 216. And while we're not seeing the bullishness that we are on Bitcoin or Dogecoin, today's still a bullish candle here for Solana, despite that bad news. As you turn on indicators, where are we looking at for potential resistance? Well, we're entering into the take profit zone on our recent buy signal, but I'm seeing an order block right here at 189 that looks very interesting for the next level of resistance. Let's check and see if our oscillators are telling us anything different. Let's see. No, I mean, daily and weekly are starting to show. No, just the daily, excuse me, is showing a little overbought, but it's only at 65. We still have a lot of room to the upside with our oscillators. And after getting a small sell signal, just like Bitcoin, T-Shroom, it does look like the daily chart wants to head back up again. The 4-hour chart, I'm assuming, hit a buy signal here over the weekend. It did, just like a Bitcoin did. And so a lot of reasons to still be optimistic about Solana making a move to 189 before the next level resistance. And hey, if this news hadn't come out, T-Shroom, maybe Solana is sitting up at 190 right now, hitting its resistance rather than being delayed. But that being said, there still seems to be a lot more people wanting to buy Solana throughout this whole thing than sell it. Where's that going to switch? Probably there at 189, 190. Look for that over the next couple of days.
Very, very true. Very good. Yeah, well, that does go ahead and lead us to the end of the news, which naturally would be followed by the factoid of the day, which today is brought to you all by none other than Decrypted.tax. It's who we trust with our personal and professional taxes, and it's who you should trust as well. Check them out in the link below. That is for Decrypted.tax. Now, Tim, I have a question for you here, a factoid, if you will. Are you ready for the factoid of the day?
I'm more ready than I've ever been before, T-Shroom, because we have $70,000 Bitcoin back on the table.
It's good to see you back in a hat, Tim.
Remember, this is my logic hat. So I've been getting these answers right without using logic. Imagine what's going to happen with this superpower on my head. That's all I'm going to say.
Incredible, Tim. Let's take a look here. What is the traditional Mexican taco shell made of? Is it A, corn, B, flour, C, rice, D, potato? What is the traditional Mexican taco shell made of? Some might call this a tortilla. Some might. Not all.
That is a tricky question, right? Because they definitely use at least the first. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever used a potato taco shell. I've definitely seen corn tortillas, flour tortillas, rice tortillas, although rice is probably a little less. I'm leaning towards A. I think that most people when they're talking about tacos, they're talking about corn. There's a chance this is tricky and it goes with beef flour. But I'm going to go with my logic hat. I think that in Mexico it would be a lot easier to get a hold of some corn, cheaper to get with the corn than it is wheat with that process. I think A is going to be the right answer here, corn tortillas. That being said, I prefer B tortillas. I prefer the B's, but A, I think it's the right answer.
All right, Tim. Well, the answer is... See if it's corn. It's corn.
See, you guys, the hat. It's a superpower, is what it is. It's a superpower,
it really is.
And it really helped us get that one right.
It really.
Thank you for my hat and $70,000 Bitcoin. Thank you to all of you guys for buying Bitcoin today to get my hat back on my head so I can get that factoid correct. That is it. Now, T-Shirt, do you prefer corn tortillas to flour tortillas? This is a real important question here.
I like them both. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I like them both. I'm not a picky eater.
I'll tell you this. I don't eat it a lot because I try to stay as healthy as possible, especially as I get older and older and older. When I was younger, I could just eat all day long and nothing happened. The Taco Bell, I can't remember what they're called, but where they have the hard shell wrapped in the soft shell with like cheese melted in the middle.
The chalupa.
Is that chalupa? All right, I'll just say if you told me I can only have one tortilla, a soft or a hard tortilla, I'm going soft. I'm going with the wheat. But you combine them together, that's also not a bad mixture for a taco night.
Well, you know what else is a good combination, Tim? CryptoFace and the Investing Bros. We're going to be going live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. The Investing Bros will be joined by the real CryptoFace1 as he appears on Twitter. That's CryptoFace. I'm going to be getting into what the heck is next for Bitcoin. When is this pump going to happen? I'm going to sit there and I'm going to say we may have hit 70K, but it is the election that is going to trigger a massive allocation, a massive rotation that is going to absolutely shock exchanges and send price of Bitcoin to the moon. To the moon, Tim, where Dogecoin is also headed as well. So very excited.
Yeah, some people are saying Crunchwrap Supreme. I think there's a couple options that Taco Bell has that have both a corn and flour tortilla. We're really talking about the important part of the show. It's always a good show, and it's always relaxing when Bitcoin is pumping. T-shirt.
That's right.
It's people have a little less tolerance for nonsense when Bitcoin's going to the downside. But I feel like as people are getting more money in their pockets, they're more willing to talk about nonsense.
More buying power. That's right.
That is another great part about the bull market. Way more nonsense conversations in the bull market that chat's okay with. Crux, maybe we need a chat. Let's find out where the community is on flour versus corn tortillas. We need to know that. Tony Roses says CryptoFace is Mortal Kombat 1 DLC character. Listen, here's what I'll say about CryptoFace. Can't wait to hear what he's doing. This man's not afraid to throw. I think I've seen him do trades upwards of like $2 million per trade. Wow. I don't care how much money you have. That's a whole lot of money to be putting out on trades.
It's a lot of dough.
Especially with leverage. So cannot wait to hear what his thoughts are about at 8 p.m. tonight, only on X.
That's right.
With that said, guys, we still have 9 minutes. We're going to answer some chat here, engage with you guys. We're through our scheduled programming of the show. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button. But also, we're at 416 likes. We still have 800 people watching. We just need a little less than 200 likes, and somebody's going to get $100 given to them today. You got to go smash the like right now. I'm sorry, everybody. Some people are saying they're hungry now, so I'm very sorry about that.
That's good. Some people can't get hungry. Some people have.
Be healthy out there.
I see some good questions, Tim. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you see?
So I'll preface this by saying I've been getting contacted by some of my friends, some of my wealthier friends who've been invested in real estate, and I do think that it has a lot to do with the All In podcast, specifically Chamath Chapatia shouting out Bitcoin, saying for a good 3 minutes they went back and forth on Bitcoin. They don't talk about Bitcoin very often. They'll mention it, but they were saying, and Chamath's big conclusion was, hey, this is the asset to be in right now. As we move into the rest of the fall. So I'll preface that is that I am getting contacted by, I wouldn't call them straight up normies, but I am getting contacted by folks who are a little bit closer to the stock market, not as much as involved in crypto. But we got a question here from Millie, said, how much do you recommend putting in ETH? I am just a student. So is it too late to buy any? And it said about $50 worth. Is it worth it? What do you think, Tim?
It's not too. Let's start off with, is it too late? It's not too late. And in fact, I think we're about to watch the second leg of a bull market. A lot of these crypto bull markets come in two big breaks. So we had our first one back in September, October of 2023. We watched a lot of the crypto kind of run up, a lot of things double, triple, quadruple, some even more than that. And then we went kind of boring and sideways / downward. We've even seen some altcoins still down like 60, 70% from their highs back in March or April. But I believe the second leg's about to get going. So no, it's not too late to invest. First of all, as a student, congratulations to you for thinking about investing. I was just having this conversation, T-Shroom, with a friend of mine where I was talking about it. I lived into my late 20s. Oh, it's been 5 years now. 25, mid-20s, without ever even thinking about investing money. And a lot of people are going to act like, oh, I only have $50. Is that even worth it? No, let me just go watch a movie and get a good dinner. The maturity to say, hey, I know it's only $50, but I want to invest in my future. Kudos to you. I want you to know just even thinking like that is going to set you up for a lifetime of success. Very excited to see that. I would not put your $50 into Ethereum, though. And the reason why is because more than likely Ethereum is going to only 5 to 7x maybe, right? So we're talking about that $50 turning into $250 to maybe like $350. That's not bad. I mean, that's great returns. Nothing is going to send that $50 into $1 million, right? So let's calm expectations. You're not an early adopter, right? That being said, there are a lot of assets out there that I still believe will at least 10x, if not push closer to that 20x or even higher. I myself am a little bit prone towards Chainlink as my best safe to high reward choice. If I could only invest in one coin this entire bull market left, it's Chainlink for me. That being said, it's not going to, 50x. I don't think it's going to 50x your money, 100x your money. I think it's going to, potentially 20 to 30x your money. That's where I would go with that. Ethereum and Bitcoin, if you have a lot of money, like if you come in and you said, I have $1 million, $2 million, then I would say, hey, you really don't need to go much past Bitcoin and Ethereum. Very safe assets. They're not going to go crazy for your money, but they're going to protect it and turn it into more. But when you have a lower portfolio, $50, $100, you don't have necessarily a whole lot to lose. So roll a little bigger. Go with an asset that can give you that 20 to 30x. I think the best choice for that is Chainlink. Others are going to say some of these meme coins like Bonk or Whiff or what's the other? Brett. A lot of people are still big on Brett. There's another one, T-shirt, that people are really big on. I'm not the meme guy, so this is not my area of expertise. What is the hottest meme right now that people are convinced is going to still have like a 70? Popcat could be a good one. So
people are into Popcat.
Yeah. Good question. And again, so glad to hear somebody with the wisdom to say, I know I only have $50, but I want to invest it rather than just blowing it on one night of happiness. Delayed gratification is the key to building wealth, even if it's only $50. What was that guy's name again?
It was Millie. Millii.
Millie.
So, Millie.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Millie, just because I love your attitude, reach out to us. Join our free Discord. I'm going to give Millie, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to give Millie free access to our Ultimates memberships. This will come with a one-on-one for you to meet with us and talk about this more in depth with your future. You can watch us trade, learn how to trade, learn how to invest, learn way more about it, get access to an amazing group of other people just like you who want to make themselves wealthier.
Yep.
Just because of who you are and what you're doing, I want to support that. I'm going to get you Ultimate for free.
Yep, and I have a feeling a lot of people, because I mean we're getting more folks watching today. It could be because Bitcoin's pushing, some good highs here. It could be because Google is playing ball and letting their foot off of the algorithm to crypto influencers. It could be a variety of things, but for whatever reason, if you're watching and you're thinking about buying crypto for the first time or maybe coming back to the market for the first time in this bull run, be very, very careful. Not all cryptos are made the same. Here at the Investing Bros, we're pretty strong believers that if you're new to crypto, especially if you're new to investing in general, just buy Bitcoin. And then you have to realize that everything south of Bitcoin in market cap is further out on the risk curve. It's not built the same as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very, very different. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make money in the rest of crypto. You absolutely can. Right. You just have to be very careful. Our community is on the conservative side, on the mature side of our approach to investing in crypto. Do we have a couple of meme coins? Absolutely. We like to dabble in that because it is crypto culture after all. But just if you're watching, if you're thinking of buying for the first time, don't be under the illusion that just because somebody says that a coin is going to do 100x, that it's actually going to. That is probably not the case. And if they know about that, you have to ask the question, if they know about that, why doesn't everybody else know about that, right? So just be be conservative.
Tishan, you're bringing up a great point. There's a difference between investing and gambling. Investing is taking in a lot of data, making a high probability choice that could end up being wrong, but ultimately has a lot of reasons behind it. You're never going to invest and get a 1000x project, right? That's not going to happen like that. To get an 1000x, you're going to have to be lucky. You're going to have to gamble. I'm not saying to never put a couple of pennies or dollars into something with an extremely low market cap and just see if it becomes something special, because some of them will work. But if you spend your entire investment portfolio going after these very small, not sure coins that have high risk, high reward, you're not going to make it very far. The majority of your portfolio should be invested, not gambled. Put it into things that have lower rewards, but have a lot of data, a lot of research, a lot of reasons and arguments as to why they will increase your money. This is not about making an 1,000x over the next year. This is about creating a lifetime process of creating and generating wealth that will change your money, change your life and your family's life. It's not about what money can I make by 2025. There will be another bull market and another and another and another. Make sure you're preparing yourself for long-term success and not short-term luckiness that actually could end up bankrupting you in a couple of years.
Yep. Absolutely, Tim. Absolutely. Well, bros, if you're looking for something to do this evening or in just a couple of hours, look no further than 8 p.m. We will be going live with CryptoFace on X. So go over to our X. The link is in the description. It's also in the bio of the YouTube channel here that you're watching. Yeah. You can find the correct link to our Investing Bros, but you don't have to, you just go on X and type in Investing Bros. Will be the one that has just under 3,000 followers. And so that's where you can do. If you're already a member, I am about to go live in question time for the Discord members. That's going to be right after the end of the show here in just a couple of minutes. After I go grab a snack, come back, rehydrate, very important for my brain health, and then we'll jump into any questions that you all have about trading, about investing, about the political climate, the political landscape. Only a week away from the election, so it's a very exciting time. Indeed.
Well, as we wrap up the show, it is time for closing thoughts with Tim. And today it's closing thoughts with hatted Tim. Bitcoin back over 70,000 briefly earlier on in the show. You know, as we're looking at this, even what we've just witnessed here in the last couple of minutes, you know, we have a Millie here, a young college student who doesn't have a whole lot, but wants to invest that rather than spending it and wasting it in a one-night joyride of happiness. They want to invest in the future. And as we've told you guys several times here on the channel, T-Shroom and I are very strong believers. We would not be here if it was not for our relationship and faith in Jesus Christ. That being said, we also not only believe in our salvation through relationship in Jesus Christ, we believe in a life of wisdom, a life that actually translates into success both here on the physical world and in eternity with our relationship with him. But I want to challenge people on how you conduct yourself with money and how you think about that long-term gratification and handle your wealth in a way that is wise and pleasing to those around you. That money, whether you believe in God or not, did not come into your life simply because you're a talented person. Maybe a lot of you are talented, but even the talent that you have was given to you by your all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful creator. And the gift that he has given you is not only for yourself, it's for those around you. There's a story in the Bible that Jesus talks about these three men who were given talents, and what they did with those talents affected what happened to them later in life. One of them, he gave like 5 talents. I don't remember the exact numbers, like 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. The guy with 5 talents doubled his money, turning into 10 talents. He came back. Jesus said, "You've been faithful with little. I want to bless you with more," and gave him immense wealth. The second one took 2 talents, turned into 4. Same thing happened. The guy with only 1 talent buried it in the sand, did nothing with it. And ultimately what Jesus does is he takes that talent away from the person. He said, "You didn't use this. I'm taking it away from you and I'm giving it to someone who's faithful." This isn't a prosperity gospel message, guys. I'm not telling you that if you invest correctly, God's going to bless you with more and more and more. But there's wisdom to being wise with your money. And even in that story, these 3 men and how they invested the money, they did not think this money was their own. They didn't invest this with luck. They didn't invest this in gambling. They took what they perceived as their Lord's money, their master's money. They took it and said, "I'm going to be a good steward of this money and treat it like it belongs to somebody else." And because of that, they not only doubled that investment, they also were blessed with a whole lot more. What's my overall point here? Whether you believe in God or not, you know what a great principle for how you handle money should be? Pretend it's not your money. Live in la la land with me for a second. Pretend that everything you have in life was not of your own doing, but was given to you as a blessing, but it belongs to someone else. How would you handle that money knowing that it belongs to someone else? If you're the type of person who squanders it and wastes it, all right, that's who you are. It's a rough life to live that way. But if you're the type of person who, when you have control over other people's assets, you treat it responsibly and you live a faithful life, Watch what the Lord does in your life to bless you with even more. Watch the wealth pile in, pile in, pile in. Not because you're this perfect person, but because you're wise and you're faithful. And when you're faithful with little, God has a way of blessing you with a whole lot more, only for you to continue to use that for others. That's all we have for you guys in today's show. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. See you at X tonight at 8 p.m.
Just
Adios.
real quick. We got a super chat here from Stock Up with Larry Jones.
Larry, what's going on?
Big friend of the show. Absolutely love Larry. Got to meet him a couple times in person now, but that was a great outro, Tim. Hated to step on it, but we gotta get Larry in there. So thank you so much for that super chat, and thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.